Hello, I'm Jean Damour and I'm going to talk about taxation, why people pay taxes, what is the connection between taxes and business, and I'm going to tell you about pay as you earn and personal income tax and so much about taxes. Let's start by saying definition of taxation. Taxation means the money that people or the business must pay to the government, and that money is used to help the country's development by building roads, schools, hospitals, and paying government workers like teachers, police, army, and other government workers, even politicians. I'm going to talk about the question number 2, which asks about why people pay taxes and when do people pay taxes. People pay taxes when they have a job and earn money. If so, if you don't have a job, you don't need to pay taxes. People also pay taxes when they run businesses, and sometimes people pay taxes when they buy goods and services. Why paying taxes is important? Taxes help the government provide public services like health, education, building public things like roads, electricity, stadiums, playgrounds, and other infrastructures. Paying taxes help the country grow and become better for its citizens. Um, and the next question talks about the connection between tax and business. Tax have bigger connection with the business because when business makes money, they must pay taxes to the government, and these taxes we have seen that they help the government to do its work. Also, even a business pays tax, it follows the law and can grow safely and operate safely in the country, where we find that business that don't pay taxes can get in trouble of being evaluated, and if they find they don't pay taxes as required, they can get more troubles. I'm going to talk about the PIT, and in full it is personal income tax. As the name implies, personal means is the tax on someone, an individual earns and pay to the government as tax for their job or business. This personal income tax is paid monthly from the salary or business income. I don't think I explained it clearly, but every individual who earns or his or her business generate income is required to pay personal income tax. And the next question is about PAYE, pay. In full, it is described as pay as you earn. That is defined as the tax employer removes from your salary every month and gives it to the government. Here in Rwanda, pay amount for someone, for example, as in the next question they ask what amount for the pay as you earn for the someone who earns 200,100 francs gross. In Rwanda, we all know that if the person earns 30,000 or more, he or she is required to pay as you earn tax. So for that individual who earns 200,100 francs, for the first 30,000, he or she is not taxed. So, and from the 30,001 francs to 100, he or she is required to pay 20% from the for pay as you earn, and for that above 100,000 francs, he or she is required to pay 30% of it. So for that individual who earns 200,100 francs, he is required to pay for those 70,000 remaining on the first portion of 100,000. He is taxed for 10,000, and for the next 100,000 he is taxed on 30%, which is equal to 30 francs. and the total of that pay he or she needs to pay to the government is equal to 44,100 francs. The next question was asking how much is required contribution to RSSB pension scheme. The total contribution is known as 6% of the gross salary of an individual, whereas 3 is paid by the employee and 3% is paid by employer. So, and the next question, the pension is the money the one gets when he has retired to his job. In Rwanda, people retire from the age of 65 or 60 plus. For the next question is about how much RSSP contribution for pension and maternity leave if a person earns 700,100 francs. It means that 3% for the pension is 21,100 francs, and 0% is considered for maternity, that is 2,100. So the total contribution must be 21,000 plus 2,100, which is equal to 23,100. How much is required? At the last question, I think, how much is required the contribution to RSSB medical insurance? For the medical insurance, the total is 15% of the gross salary. 7% is paid by employee and 7.5% is paid by employee. So if you earn 700,000 francs, the medical insurance contribution is 15% of it. That equal to 105,000 francs. Let's wrap up to what we have covered in this video. I have talked about taxes and its importance to the country, why we pay taxes, when we earn money, when we run business, or when you buy things. I have also talked about pay, which is pay as you earn, and personal income tax that are paid due to your salary. And I have talked about RSSB that help the employees with their pension, maternity, and other medical care. And I can end saying that everyone must pay taxes to follow the law and support country's development. Thank you.